Hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening. As usual. Depending on the time and place where you're watching this video. My name is Adrian Fengd. Designer. Seller at this time. Of the RiskCopilot Utility, the MetaTrader utility that will change your way of trading, which it will improve. I'm sure it will improve the way you interact with the market. Done. In the last video we had analyzed, let's say, the basic features that we found on the home screen, how we could interact with a little better with the RiskCopilot. Now we're going to go with the first mode, or what we know as scout mode or pre-op mode, right? Let's talk a little bit more about the interface. Let's talk a little bit more about what we're doing and how we are doing. So, stay tuned, stay here with me, we're going to work on it. Ready? So, Scout mode. So let's analyze what we have in the scout mode. What we have are what interfaces and what we are interacting with. First, then, remember that you can click and move wherever you want. Click, move, and the panel follows you wherever you are. Ready? Now, first, volume. We already know that it is the number of lots or the quantity of monetary units. We are in Forex, the amount of money or the value of the share. Or depending on the market where we are, simply how big or how small our business is going to be. Operation based on money, right? The margin, which is how much money I want in my account to be able to open a trade, right? That's like the safeguard that the broker has, that have enough money in your account to support the operation, depending on the leverage the account is at. Please keep that in mind. Now, this TP is how much is the take profit or how much is your potential profit or your expected profit. The stop loss, your expected losses that are always going to be there. Located directly to what you want to risk per account. I have it at 0.5, so if we see that my account is in 78320 asterisk 0.005, that gives me that it is more or less between 300. Hey, 90. My risk. So, that's the one I have here. How do I modify this? No problem. Remember that these are drag lines. That is, they can drag them, take and drag. So, they take it, hold it and drag it, and as you can see, it opens automatically and it is multiplied so that now my take profit is in 1440, right? Now, what else do we have here in my interface? You can change these blacks. You can change this black color of those titles. Switch from the home screen. Just so you know, right? And they want it in a different color. Now, the RRR or risk-reward ratio. It's like the ratio they have between how much they are risking and how much they are winning. So, in my case I am making a transaction of 392 euros, but if I plan to earn 1427, it means that more or less, my risk-reward ratio is 3.6. That is, for every dollar or every euro that is operating, I plan to earn 3.6. So for you to take it into account, it is your operation. True? The margin is also seen here. They enter the volume, the price at which they are the price of the entrance, these stack. Follow the price, then don't worry, it will move on its own. And the stop loss too, it doesn't matter where you move it. He will automatically go down. You see that he is varying, obviously, because the market moves every tick, it changes the spread, so try to be in each tick or each market movement as faithfully as possible. And I have a rounding system for it. Right? Because in some cases, let's say, the step that there is between the lots. For example, let's analyze it here. Control U and we go to the symbol, for example. We're going to talk about the US 30, right? Dow Jones. So if we look here, for example, he is telling me that the minimum trading volume is 0.01 and the step volume is 0.01. So this passage volume is very important because in some cases the passage volume is 1. Right? It doesn't take decimals into account. What happens if you don't take decimals into account, and your risk where you're placing the stop loss is 1, 2? Or 1.3, but the step is 1 or 2. So, the risk has a system that rounds in the for good, the higher risk, which is 2, puts me at risk, for example, more than 0.5%. I risk, for example, 0.8 or 0.9, but if I stay in 1, in a lot of 1, a volume of 1, risk 0.35, 0.4. So, he makes the decision and says, and quad, it's better to risk a little less than what is closest to the original risk, and quad. So that's why there are those small variations. So you take that into account, okay, then, immediately he dynamically changes the volume for me, so, that would be the preoperative mode. Now, to go into sandbox mode or the mode that I call backtest. But the game mode, this tag is changed and it automatically goes to that mode, which is the style of the entry line or how we are going to handle the entry line. Dynamic or static. In this case it's static because I'm going to do tests, but we'll talk about that in turn. Corresponding video of sandbox mode. Done. Now. This is it. This data toggle. What it takes away from me is the data. From here. That information is in black. If you're not interested in seeing it, you can change it. Right? And you can turn it back on. If you don't want to see the price stack, which is this. Let's say the stack's where the price is, you can easily remove it from here. I'm doing a volume control. Sorry, I'm zooming in. To activate this because the market at this time is already going to be 12, the market is already going to close, I hope we reach. To record the video before the market closes. Hey. Each ticket is updated. Since I don't have that many tickets at the moment, I update simply. Doing this zoom, right? So, price stack appeared there alone in the line. If you don't want to see the lines, you can also move them like this. Form. So, I'm not going to do anything there. I'm not going to move. We're going to wait. That there is a tick that the treats me the 5 and the MQL5 programming. Let's say the update frequency is directly related to the frequency at which the market is moving. There appeared the lines. If you want to make the squares or rectangles wider or thinner, you have these buttons here. True? When they want to go down more than a certain point, he will say that the minimum is 15. Or at least the one you configured from the home screen, that is, here. The same as you, the minimum that you configure EH. It's here, right? The minimum you set here. Ready. Hey, activate the background. Right? If I don't want to see that background. If I want to see it. If I want to hide and show the trade panel. And this. The deactivate limit. It activates and deactivates hardcore mode or mode. Where we force the price. Right? The one we talked about in the last video, and now that if we force the price, depending on the step and depending on the amount of money we have, it can show me a higher or lower risk. In this case, major. The one I want to risk, if I have it like this, is me. Allowing me to risk more than what I said at the beginning. If I deactivate it, it does not allow me to risk more than what I told you at the beginning. That's scout mode. What else do we have? We have a minimize button here. We can also move it. We can maximize. From here we close the A. Right? I'm not going to close it right now. From the gear I can change. But the topic, for example, we are going to go to the topic. Sorry. Solarize. Well, before going there. And here we are going to hide and show with this little info everything. The panel here, all this information. Concerning the time, so. What's your local time? What's the server time, if the market hasn't closed at this time? Perfect. So, the market is closed, and where can you see that information? You can see that information here when you come to the symbol in Control U. So, for example, we're in USD Japan, but this is a major forex. So, USD Japan, what? So, here he tells me that the market is going to make me see more or less. He says that it is closing between 11:55 p.m. Right? I can't update here. I do update here because I don't have any ticks, so the market doesn't update. So let's say until 0:05 we're going to come back, but we don't need it right now. We're not going to. Operate, we are simply showing how this mode works. Okay, now this would be the compact interface that I like to call it. Let's move this over here, where they won't bother us. Now, if I want to go to the extended function, then what is the extended function, or what is the extended panel? Extended panel shows me many more EH. What's her name? She calls many more. Statistics, many more parameters, many more values. So, the symbol, what type is the symbol? How much is my account? How much is my risk? How much is my commission, if any? How much is my spread? That is, how much is my difference at this moment between the purchase and the sale? How much is my profit? What is this value? Remember, how much is my loss? What is this value? What is this loss normally? That go in harmony, right? Between these two. These two must always be similar or by variations that we have already analyzed. Maximum 1%. Well, today is the data that they have given us that we will also talk about in another video later on. What tests have been done and what we have done to ensure the greatest reliability, and that everything I'm saying here is fulfilled in different types of brokers, in different types of systems. Ready? Hey, how much is my RRR? How much is my radius of loss gain or my risk-reward ratio? How much is the volume? How many ticks are left to the stop loss? That is, how far is the entry line from the stop loss line? In ticks, in pips, remember, ticks is the last decimal, pips is the second to last decimal. For some who do intraday, who do scalping, who do edge, the ticks are very important because they represent very small market movements. Here it gives you the value of each tick. How much the value of each tick gives you, also equal to the ticks and take profit, and the pips and take profit. Now, there's something different here in this expanded interface, which is the show graph. When I talk about the show graph, it shows me a graph that is purely statistical or a visual aid, which will show you in a spider chart that allows you to visualize a little better how your operation is. Let's say a graphical representation of your operations in these 5 categories that I think Irene is improving, adding, removing as we evolve in the updates. From RiskCopilot. How much is the expected payoff, right, out of your pocket? What is the percentage of your win rate from 0 to 100? What is your percentage of winning trade loans? What is your percentage of trade shorts or trades? Short or winning trades? And, sorry about that, and what is your RR, your risk-reward rate? I have it from 0 to 3, so if you want to see that, if you don't want to see it, you can hide it. And in this part of my extended panel I have more statistics that are account statistics. How much is your net profit? That is, how much have you earned? How much have you lost in total? How much have you earned? Gross net, that is, how much is your gross profit? How much have been your gross losses? Then obviously the net profit is the subtraction of these two. How much has the account dropped, or how low has your drop down been? That is, the minimum or the. Let's say, the lowest that account was is 2,384. How much is your expected payoff, or is it the statistic or the MetaTrader metric where it tells you making a past calculation from a lot of variables? How much can you expect to pay for each, or how much is your payment for each trade? It is a speculative statistics, right? And how much have you paid in commissions? If your broker has a commission, they will give you a total of how much you paid commissions. It's important for you to take this into account in these earnings, isn't it? Because it's different that my account is $300 up, but I have paid $400 in commissions, ergo you are $200 down. Now, number of trades. How many trades have I closed? 87. What was the average of each trade? Right, in the average profit or loss of each trade. How many long trades have I made? What was their winning percentage? How many trades for sale? And what has been your winning percentage? And how many trades have been closed in a way technically or in a stop-loss manner? That means, in my case, let's use the example, as this is a test account. Let's say 97.7%. True? Of the trades I have made, 87 of those trades have been closed manually. The 2.3% that has closed in this way, that is, in a way automatic stop loss or take profit, so this is an important ethic. To see if you are closing your operations. Manuals. Or you're actually letting the market run, so to keep this in mind when you're doing your weekly analysis. Bi-weekly of your operations. And the win rate, the same, close trade 87. Your number of winning trades or your percentage of 3 winners, how many 3 winners have over those 87? And the percentage of the resource ratio, or what is the percentage, nope, what is the average? And now we talk here. This green bar is the win rate percentage and this red bar is the loss percentage. Rate. So this is basically the mode. Scout that allows you to move in that way, that allows you to make calculations, that allows you preoperatively, right? Wait for your conditions to be right. Immediately when your conditions are given, all you have to do is buy or sell. At this moment we cannot do it because the market is closed, but we will see it in later videos when we are talking about how we get to operational mode, how manage ourselves in operational mode. But for now, being here. In scout mode is the mode where you are in a safe mode. It is a mode where they just have to worry about the market, hopefully. If they are intraday, waiting for it to happen. The conditions, if they work with trends, if they work with patterns, if they work with figures, the only thing you have to worry about is that your conditions and your strategy are met. And once they are given, we simply click on buy or sell. Ready? Obviously, keep in mind the buy and sell setups. To buy, the take profit has to be above the entry line and above the stop loss for sale. The take profit has to be below, something we hadn't talked about. If you now want to enter to sell, you simply have to drag the lines. That's all. That's all you have to do, and it will update and move its volume. So obviously the volume doesn't change because I changed the take profit, but because I changed the stop loss. See, from 313 to 667? Because I went almost halfway through the pips. So, you already know how to look or how to move between selling and buying. In scout mode. True? So, have present everything we just talked about. Implement it, play with the software, analyze it, and see that it's an excellent strategy. Hey! It's an excellent way to work. In this market, as soon as the market has opened, they're already 5 o'clock, it's already past 4 or 5. So, thank you very much. See you in the next video, where we will talk about sandbox mode or mode backtesting. Thank you so much, take care, leave me a comment if you need to know anything else. Successes. And until next time, guys.